Well, all of the hurricane stuff intervened and other stuff intervened. And so I'm a little late to talking about this. I, of course, did not watch the vice presidential debate, but I stuff filters down to me. And one piece of information from that debate that I heard about was very interesting indeed to me. And that's when Tim Walz, the Dem VP candidate, was asked a question about why he changed his mind on gun control. He used to be a pro-gun person, apparently, and changed his mind. And he was asked why, and he went into this litany of, I've hung out with. He dropped the sh word, the school in Connecticut that dare not speak its name. I dare not speak its name, but it rhymes with Flandy Fluck. And anyway, he talked about that. He dropped that name in there, and then he said something very interesting. And he said, "And I've become friends with school shooters." And blah, 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 and he went on from there. And people didn't really notice what he'd said until later, apparently. J.P. Vance didn't say, wait a minute there. You say you've become friends with school shooters? What do you mean by that? And I don't know how much I want to say explicitly here, because this is you screw tube after all, and you screw can seem very permissive, and then suddenly, just like suddenly you make an ill-informed joke, and they say, this is a warning to you, and you've been a bad person, and we're not going to give you these special privileges because you get all these strikes because you're a bad person and you spread misinformation. And so I'll just be vague or coded here in the way I'm going to put this. I'm not going to be vague because I'm just going to I'm going to phrase it in a way that people who get me. I don't think this was a slip of the tongue. I don't think this was a gaffe. It was characterized afterwards as a gaffe, which is weird. Like, a gaffe is when you say something inappropriate, right? Like when Biden asked the paralyzed man to stand up. That was a gaffe. I mean, I could even relate to that. I could see doing that. That was a relatable gaffe. I wasn't even angry with Biden about that. That was when Biden still seemed, mildly likable. But that's a gaffe. All right. A gaffe is not saying something that sounds unfathomable. Saying something that sounds like it just does not compute. Like, what do you mean you become friends with school shooters? Is that a gaffe? No. It's I think the way that this should be approached is that he was telling the truth. And I believe him. I believe Tim Walz when he said that he's become friends with school shooters. Afterwards, he was asked to clarify, and his quote-unquote clarifications were posted, and we were supposed to just think, oh, don't make this into a big deal. It's not a big deal. Everybody misspeaks. No, not like this. I can guarantee you, if I were talking about this issue, I wouldn't say that I've been friends with school shooters, and that's informed my opinion on gun control. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't even think about saying that. You know, if you've gotten to know people who were families of victims of school shooters, then you say, I've gotten to know families of victims of school shooters, right? Say that. That's not like saying I've become friends with school shooters. There's, you don't just accidentally leave out the families of victims of school shooters and just skip right to the school shooter part. I mean, what in the world? What in the world? The people who are trying to make sense of this, or who are trying to construe this as something innocent, you know, I'm just not I'm not interested in any attempted clarifications. I think bro said what bro said, and that's just it, and it stands. It's on the record that Tim Walz has become friends with school shooters, and I believe he has. I believe he has. And of course that raises questions, doesn't it? It raises questions, but I'm not going to examine those questions here. I'm going to leave you to do that on your own. But I think he told the truth. You know, it said when people tell you who they are, believe them, right? That's kind of an overused like phrase, you know, or whatever. But in this case, I think it's true. When I think he gave a straight answer. Because why would he lie? You know, politicians, you know, tell lies all the time. They misinform all the time. They deceive all the time. But where's the deception in saying I've become friends with school shooters? You know, again, I just don't buy. This is like when Barack called Michelle Michael. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. I'm not going to go into detail about it here. That's something that you don't just, that's a slip of the tongue that you don't just have. You know, if your wife is named Jennifer, and you're in conversation with her, and then you say, hey Jeremy, what was, and you say it casually, and you know, you don't say, you don't correct yourself, and you don't say, oops, why did I call you Jeremy? That's so weird. But it just rolls off your tongue because it's apparently the name that you know this person by. Same thing. So I believe Tim Walz, and I think you should too.